Well, ladies and gents, that is qualifying for the 2021 inaugural Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton claims pole. It's a 1-2 for Mercedes on the front row with Valtteri Bottas in second place. And Max Verstappen still fortunately in third. Hopefully he doesn't have to take any sort of penalty for maybe replacing any component in his car, because Max Verstappen hits the wall on his last qualifying lap. He was definitely on pace to get pole. I think everybody saw that clearly. And man, this is the thing about this track. Very technical, very tricky. Sometimes you get on the curbs and you're fine, and obviously other times you don't. And maybe you get on it a little too much. You get a little bit of dirty air. It's a lot of things that can go wrong at this track, and we've seen that throughout practice. Fortunately, we haven't had any major incidents, which I'm kind of surprised about so far, but the race could be a different story. Unfortunately for Max, he is not able to claim pole. Hits the barrier, and man, that really sucks for the kid. I mean, his first championship is still there. It's in the grasp, but I mean, that moment as well could have huge implications to not only this race, but also the last race of the season. As we go down the rest of the order, Charles Leclerc with another strong qualifying result for Ferrari comes in P4. Sergio Perez in the Red Bull in P5. So P3 and P5 for Red Bull respectively. They're going to have a lot to do in the race tomorrow. Obviously, strategy is going to be huge since this is the first time we're running at this track. We don't really know what teams are going to do as far as their strategies are concerned. Whether it's an undercut, overcut, we have no idea. But Red Bull's definitely going to have to take that into account very, very much so now, considering what they'll have to make up. Pierre Gasly, another strong finish again for AlphaTauri here in the qualifying session, finishes in P6. Lando Norris sitting there comfortably in P7. Yuki Tsunoda, again, looks like he's finally showing pace and finally showing some consistency. I've done videos talking about the fact that he's been training with Alex Albon. I'm not sure how that dynamic situation will continue into the 2022 season with Albon obviously being a part of Williams as a driver. But nonetheless, it seems that it is helping out Yuki Tsunoda. He's getting more used to that AlphaTauri, and again, he's having the consistency. So it's good to see him and starting in P8. I mean, that's pretty big considering he's had a relatively up and down season. It's good to see Yuki in P8. I'm happy for him. We have Esteban Ocon with another solid result there for Alpine in P9. And then Antonio Giovinazzi. Such a shame that he's not going to be in the sport come next season, but he gets the last place in P10 here for qualifying. So very, very fun qualifying session, at least in my opinion, for the simple fact that it was hard to dictate and or predict who was actually going to be there at the end. This is a new track. It's a new circuit. Teams are working with limited data. So it was very interesting to see how many drivers were constantly taking the fastest lap through the practice sessions and especially through qualifying as well. It was very enjoyable, at least in my opinion, to see that. But nonetheless, it's going to be Hamilton, Bottas, 1-2 for Mercedes, and Verstappen in third place for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Nothing is over for Red Bull or Max Verstappen. I don't think any fan should be extremely upset like, oh, that's it. It's not over. We've seen crazier things happen this season. It's still a great possibility they can figure something out tomorrow. But man, you can't help but feel bad for Max, because without hitting the barriers, I mean, he's definitely on pole. I believe that was 2 purple sectors. He was right there, and man, yeah, that definitely sucks. I feel for him. I know he's frustrated. I just watched his press, his interview and press conference, and he doesn't seem too happy, obviously, and you can understand. I don't think anybody would be happy hitting the barriers on your last lap, and that was going to more than likely be the lap that was going to put you on pole for a race that, if everything were to go accordingly, could get Max his first World Drivers' Championship. Again, he's not out of it. He still can obviously claim that, but now, something spectacular is going to have to happen in tomorrow's race. With Lewis and Bottas, I think one of them, obviously Lewis, in regards to the Drivers' Championship, having an issue or something happening to his car to move him further down the line. And then obviously for the constructors, Valtteri Bottas, would also have to have some sort of similar issue. He had some issues in qualifying. Appears they got it fixed. He was talking about misfiring as he came into the pits. They didn't really say actually what they did to get that car back up and running quickly for the Q3 session, but it looks like he got it solved, and obviously he has shown the pace here this weekend in the qualifying session. So again, sitting on the front row with his teammate Lewis Hamilton. And like I said, the Red Bulls are going to have to think of something and figure out something tomorrow, I think, not to just give Max a chance at trying to hold on to the World Drivers' Championship lead and ultimately win it by the end of the last race, but also for Red Bull to try to win that Constructors as well. Anything can happen. It's Formula One. We've seen crazier things, but yeah, it'll be very interesting to see nonetheless how tomorrow's race is going to go. I'm excited. I just hope we don't have any major incidents or crashes. I think all of us want the drivers to make it out of the race safely, but I think it's going to be a much more exciting race than people think, just because we've seen in practice and qualifying how tricky the circuit is, and just, traffic, obviously with, essentially the gloves coming off tomorrow for the race. That's going to be interesting. Nobody's going to be forced to slow down unless we start encountering blue flags. So I think tomorrow's race is going to be much more exciting than people initially anticipated. I think we're going to see some opportunities possibly for overtaking. I think racing is actually going to get a little bit closer than people think, which in essence could provide some collisions or some conflict. And again, I just don't want to see anybody get seriously injured or hurt, because this is a very dangerous circuit. But outside of that, if it's wheel-to-wheel racing at certain parts of the track, especially on the straightaways, I'm sure with DRS we'll see quite a bit of that. I'm not sure if going through kind of the S section of the track we're going to see some wheel-to-wheel racing, very high speed sector of the track. I think in sector 2. It'll be interesting to see if that's something that comes out in tomorrow's race. But nonetheless, you guys let me know your thoughts on today's qualifying in the comment section below. How do you feel about Max Verstappen and his damage, and how that's going to affect his race tomorrow, and the Red Bull situation overall? How do you feel about Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, especially with the incidents that happened earlier with Lewis, the double yellow flags, and then as well the Nikita Mazepin incident? Just let me know your thoughts on all of those in the comment section below. This is Racing Chemical.